Welcome to Code with Petit Pois. In this tutorial we're going to look at Astro and why it is a good framework for beginners to make content-driven websites. This is the main page, Astro page, and as you can see it powers marketing sites, blogs, e-commerce websites and more. Now the reason to use it is it's a JavaScript web framework that's optimized for building fast content-driven websites. So it improves website performance, sending lightweight HTML to the browser and no JavaScript by default. It allows you to load data from anywhere, your file system, an external API, or a CMS like Strapi or Payload or Sanity. You can also extend it with your own favorite tools like Vue or Tailwind CSS, Starwind UI. So these are the reasons to use Astro, and this is showing you the best conversion rates on loading times compared to other popular static site generators. So you can use React, Vue, Preact, Svelte and Solid inside your components, and it gives you an idea, a little snippet of what this thing here, a add to cart page would look like. So there's content collections, which is markdown files that you can store, view transitions to make things morph and swipe across the page, and as we said before, zero JavaScript by default, and many other things. So what we'll be looking at today is a simple way to actually install, make sure you how to get this all set up on your machine. So we looked at why Astro in their documentation. It talks again about islands and zero JavaScript by default, content collections. But the first thing we do if we want to install Astro is to make sure we have a code editor. Now my code editor of choice is Visual Studio Code. It's free and even has agent mode now, so you can obviously use that. So I would you need to download that. I'm on Windows, so but whatever platform that you use, Visual Studio Code is by far one of the best editors, and obviously everybody has an opinion about that, but that's the one I choose. And you will also need Node.js. This is nodejs.org, and Node.js allows you to run JavaScript on your machine it creates a server for you to do that. You can also create your own servers, write tests, etc. But you need to have Node.js downloaded on your machine. And once you have a code editor and Node.js, we can move on to installing Astro. So let's do that now. So here I am inside of Visual Studio Code. I've opened created a blank folder called Astro Beginner. And what we're going to do now is we're going to open the terminal. And then we're going to go to Astro and we're going to copy this code snippet here. and we're going to add a space and a dot so that it will do it within this folder. Okay, so it's saying it wants to create a Astro project. So you have quite a few options. You've got a basic starter project, a blog template, a starlight template, and a minimal empty template. So we're actually going to use the minimal, and we're going to install the dependencies, and we're going to initialize a Git repository. So that's pulling everything from Git, so that we have all that we need for creating the Astro file, Astro website. So as that's initializing, as you can see, it's creating these folders. Everything's initialized. Okay, so now that everything's done, what we can do, we can run npm run dev, and then we can go to this specific, there we are. This is the page, and we have this Astro file. So there we've actually installed Astro and created a new project. So here we are from where we left off in the last video. We looked at our index.astro page, which is source pages index.astro, and this is basically HTML, and we can change the title here to portfolio, and here we can say portfolio. So it's still this page here, and here we are. Portfolio is here, and also the title and what's inside the H1. So we've been able to change that. So what we could do now is install Tailwind CSS, and also Tailwind UI, which basically is a component library similar to shadcn, which is very popular, but this one is specifically for Astro. So what we'll do, we will actually install this, because this one will also install Tailwind for us as well. So if we go to installation, this is the command we have to, this is what we have to do first. We already have our project, so we can skip this one, but we need to go into the tsconfig.json and copy this. So we go into our file here, and we will add what we got there. And then it wants us to run this command, npx starwind at latest init. So we'll copy that. We will Control C to get out of the terminal, and we will paste starwind init. And it says, do you want to proceed? We say yes. And it says, where do you want your components? We're going to put it in source and then components. Where do you want your Tailwind CSS file? I'll just use the default. and we'll go with zinc. I'm going to use npm, and it also wants you to install Tailwind. That's why I didn't want to install it before separately. And it's going to install all the packages for us. So we can close all of this. And it's going to install what we need. And as it's doing that, as you can see, it's created 2 folders for us. A components folder with Tailwind inside, and a styles folder with Tailwind CSS. So what we can do now is go back into our page, index.astro, and at the top we can say import styles Tailwind CSS. You can actually put an @ symbol here. And now in this H1 we can add if we go to Tailwind, we can add a style in the font. So we can say font black or font extra bold, and this is the styles that it will generate. So we'll use font extra bold. So we'll say H1, so the class will be font extra bold, and then we'll make sure in the terminal to run npm run dev, and we will. Okay, so it's quite small. So what we want to do is change the text size or the font size. So puts the word text and a dash, and then choose the size. So we're going to go with something like 7XL. So next to it, text 7XL. And there we go. So we've got this big. So we've got Tailwind CSS added to our Astro project. And you've also added the style to the page. So as we're making a portfolio project, we're going to be needing probably buttons, cards. So in the Tailwind documentation, we're going to look for button that we have here. And this is the code that we will need to obviously use to create the button. But we first need to add it to our project, and this is the command we need to write. So we copy that. And what we'll do, the terminal will have this plus button here, and we will add button. Okay, so it's added the button for us, and if we look, you can see that it's created this button component. So if we go back here and we say this is what we need to do to import the button, so we will copy this, go into our index page and add that here, and then we'll add button here, and it will say contact me. Alright, so now if we look in our, here we have a button and it says contact me. It doesn't go anywhere for now, but that's what we can do. And if we wanted to use it as a link, we would put this here, href link. So we can do that. We can say href $sign link, or actually say contact. Then we could create a div with an ID of contact. Say h1 or h2. Here is how to contact me. We save that, and if we look, it goes to contact. Okay, so we can add a class here, padding Y48. So when we click on it, maybe we'll say 72. And if we scroll up and we say contact me, it will take us down to that page there. Yeah. So obviously we can remove all of that, but that's how to do that. So we can create start to create our page now. But we also need the card component to have this nice looking cards. So what we'll do that as well. So we'll add card. We can also create our own. We will also create our own components as well. But this is nice to have some nice styling. And in order to have the card, we can use this code here. That one's a little bit complex. Let's use this one. So this is the card that we need. Import the card designs. And that's what we need here. And then we actually need to create our card. So we'll copy all of that. Create a card here. We don't have the select or the label, so we'll remove those. And we will say content 1, content 2, and let's see what that looks like inside R. There we are. So we'll say in the card title, we'll say project title. This is project description. This is this could be maybe an image. And what we can do is go to, let's say, Unsplash, and we'll use Sunset. Make sure the license is free. Right click and say copy image address, and just paste that inside the source here. And let's take a look. There we go. So after that, we would say something like view So say, there we go. So we've got our portfolio with a nice little card and a contact me button. So obviously this is not what we're going to complete. We're just building on creating our components. So next, what we will do, we will be fleshing this out more and creating a navbar and all the different components you need for a portfolio. Okay, welcome back to Code of Petit Pois. In this section, we're going to start looking at components. So I've made a folder here called components. And so far, we've only got our Tailwind components that we've been using. And what we're going to be doing is actually taking this card here that we have in our index file and converting that into a component. Now what that will do is it's basically a reusable block of code. So if we cut that and we go to our component folder and create a new file called project card.astro and paste that inside. And now we're going to have to also bring all the imports that we had previously. So basically this will, it's going to clean up our code here, and we will basically bring that, now we can bring this specific component into our file. So we are. Now we can say import project card, and now we can import that from our components, and nothing should have changed. So if we npm run dev in the terminal and we go to the local host, we still see everything from before. Okay, now as you can see, just having one card is normally you have more than one project, so we can do a grid. So what we're going to do, we're going to say a div with a class of grid, and then we're going to get grid -cols -1, and then MD, which is basically when the screen is medium size, we want the grid to be 3. And now we can put in 3 project cards, and let's take a look and see what that does. And there you go, we've got 3 different project cards. Excellent. So now what we want to do is actually modify the project cards to actually contain a project. So if we go back to project card, we're going to do what's called, we're going to give it props. So all we want is a const, and we're going to say we want a title, a description, and maybe we'll just do that for now, and it equals astro.props. And now what we can do, we can change this to a title and a description. So basically these are like placeholders, and in the content we'll put slot, and that will we can also do the same here, and we can just say button text, and at the top here we say button text, just so that it's reusable, and Right now we don't have a type, just say that's fine. And basically what this is doing, we're going to get the header, and we're going to get dynamically, we're going to get the title and the description. We're going to be able to put something in between, and it's going to arrive here. And then the button, inside the button we're going to have a specific button text. So now, if we go back to our index page and we go to our project card, we can say title equals project title, project 1. Description equals full website, and button text equals view website. And now what we could do is paste that a couple of times and change it to this one. Change that to first website, commercial website, and full stack app. Okay, so as you can see, we've changed it to be those. And if we take a look now, we have project 1, project 2, I've called project 1, but we can change it dynamically here, and project 3. So just like that, we have dynamic components, and that's being brought in from our components folder. And we're using, again, props that basically take what we give it and it replaces it where we want it here. So that's we're going to do it one more time. In the layout file, I've got a folder here called layouts, and this is bringing in our Tailwind class, the title for our page, and the normal regular HTML. And you can see here we have a header section. So we're going to cut that and leave this slot here. And now we're going to see if we can, you can do it on your own, but you've got navbar, or we could just actually, yeah, we'll call it navbar. Astro, you can call it header, anything you want, as long as you remember what it is. And there's no styling on this, so let's just add a bit of styling. So class of flex, class of BG, I like teal, so let's go teal 400, padding 4, and nav with a class of flex row. Okay, and now we're going to go into our layout Astro at the top, and then we're going to import the navbar component. We'll put it inside the body but above the slot. So now if we take a look, we should see our navbar. Now we can see that it didn't quite do what I wanted, so I'm going to move this class here to the UL. There we go. And this should have a class of padding 4. And there we go. So we've got here my portfolio. And as you can see, they're not links. So what you could do, you could wrap it in a link, and we'll just do that for now. And now it's a link. Okay, and you can even give it a class and say on hover, change to font bold. There we go. So we haven't done it the same. As you can see, we need to obviously do the same here. And change it to about. So we've got home, and we got about. So it doesn't go anywhere, it stays on the same page, but there you go. So you've basically made two separate components, portfolio card and a navbar. So well done. So next time we'll be looking at making more dynamic components along with creating the footer and fleshing out this project. Welcome back to Code with Petit Point. In this tutorial, we're going to take a look at what is often referred to as the superpower of Astro, especially by at Coding in Public YouTube channel, content collections. Now, the best way to manage any content in Astro locally is content collections. So in the documentation here, we see that it's the best way to manage sets of content in any Astro project. Collections help to organize and query your documents, checking your editor, and providing type safety for all your content. So Astro 5 introduced Content Layer API for defining and querying content collections. This means you can also get remote content and build a custom loader. So we're going to go through content collections, what they are and how we can make them. First of all, we need to define a collection. This can be a directory of blog posts, JSON file, etc. So as we're doing a portfolio website, we're going to make a content collection of specifically projects, maybe art projects that we've done, or a website project, or writing projects that we've published, or anything like that. So basically we're going to store them in Markdown, and Markdown is a way of a front end, uses front end matter, and it is really good for text heavy content. So what we'll do, we will follow what is defined here. So this is what it created. This is a README document, and all of that was created from the CLI. So obviously you could use this. I've used it to create a project with Astro. I wrote most of the code, and then it opened the folder for me in VS Code, and I was able to run it, and it was working. So this is definitely a game changer. It's free, so it's not like Cursor or Windsurf where you have to pay. And you can even extend it by obviously adding your API key, and you can see which version it's using, and there's a lot of you can always change the method, so you can either use Gemini, Vertex AI, or log in with Google, or you can set external editors. I've got mine as you've got chat as well. You can compressing chat history. So yeah, this is definitely a really good tool, and it's going to be amazing if you want AI in your workflow. So yeah, it's just a cool free thing that you can use now, which is going to be awesome. Okay, so just take a look at what Markdown looks like. We have an area here that's in these three dots here. You've got title, and this is what you're going to be making different every time. Then you got the author, you might even have the image source file, you might have the a website or a URL to see the live project or the publication. You might even have the date as well. And then underneath you have exactly what's in the article. So in Astro, you can read Markdown files, MDX, and others. And this is just wanting to make sure that we knew what we were talking about. And we will basically use this as a base and actually make Markdown files for our portfolio project. So here we are inside our project. And we're going to create a folder under the source component. I'm going to call it content. And we're going to call it let's call it, I'm going to use my website as a thing, so let's call it articles. Yep. And we have a new file, and we'll say medium, let's do, yeah, that's like article 1.md. And here we go, we'll add the from there as we saw. Now I'm going to want a title. I'm going to call it article 1. And then we're going to want a, sorry, space here. And then we're going to want a published. And we're going to say 20, sorry, 1st of June 2024. So we've got title, we've got description, we've got published. We'll take a look at what else we can put as a, say author. Say author. I'm going to put my name. You can say tech. And that will be an array of strings. We'll say Astro JS. We'll say GitHub. And we will say Tailwind CSS. Okay. So then you have the title, description, published, author, tech, and this is what we're going to present. And then we'll actually say, we can say, we can have a link that will show the article. So we can have it, we could have it here actually. URL, and we'll say, I'll just use my website there. Okay. So this is our first article, and what we can do actually, can actually just copy this, and I'm going to create a new file and say article2.md. We'll change this to article 2. This is another article. I'm going to change that to 2024. Actually, leave it 2025. Change that to 2. And we'll make another one. .md. And we'll change this to article 3. We'll change that to 4. And this is yet another article about Astro JS. Okay, so there we go. Got 3 articles inside of the source component there. So now we can look at content collection, and as we looked at what it is, and now we can actually define one. So in order to define one, we need to create a content.config file. So we'll go to the source, make sure we have a file called content.config.ts, right? And what we can do, we can just, well, we need to make sure that I'll just copy this so we can follow the instructions. So we're defining the collection, and we're importing any loaders we need, and we're going to call ours articles. We don't need docs because articles. All right, so this one defines the collection. So then we need to actually tell it where to find the articles. So in this case, we're getting we add the loader from Astro loaders, and we're getting any file with the pattern that has .md as the file name, and we know that we have it in content, and it's called articles. So there we've created a content collection of articles, just like that, okay? And so it's going to get everything. If we take a look again, it's going to collect everything. We don't need this. Inside of source.content.articles that has a .md file, MD extension. Okay, so that's our content collection. We can go one step further and actually define the pattern of this content collection by adding the schema. So if we take a look, we have title, description, published, author, and tech, and URL. So that's what we'll do. We'll say title, which is a string, description, which is also a string, and we'll say z.string. We have published is a date, author is a string, and what else we have? Tech and URL. Okay, so tech is an array of strings, and URL is another string. So it is bringing, sorry, I don't need the code on there. So it's bringing Z, which is Zod, which will make sure that anytime we're referencing an article, it will have these. So we're basically making sure that we have all of these items when we want to display it to the user. Okay, so in the next tutorial, what we'll be looking at is how to display these elements inside the project card components. So we'll make another component and we'll make it use the project card, but we'll dynamically add all of these things. Okay, so that's what we'll do in the next one. All right, So here we are inside our project, and I've made a new component called project.astro. I'm just going to paste what we're going to do and I'll walk you through it. So we're going to import get collection from Astro content, and we're going to make a thing called, we're going to say all articles, and this is going to get the collection articles, and we're going to loop through all the articles that it gets back, and we're going to say my articles. Okay, be happy if I spelled it properly. Or we're just going to actually say something like writing. All right, so we're looping through all the articles, and I'm mapping each article, and we're getting back the data, the title, the description, and the URL. And what we're going to also do is we are going to just stop the thing for now. And basically what we're going to do Tailwind has a badges. Oh, you know what? Let's just get it from Tailwind itself. So if we go to Tailwind, we're going to go to badge, and we're going to put this in the terminal. So we've got here, add badge. Okay, so yes. All right, so we've successfully added a badge to the Tailwind component. And we're going to copy this code here to import the badge. And I'll show you how we're going to use this in a minute. And import the badge here, and then we're going to say article dot data dot tech dot map. So we're mapping through the tech. We say item any, and for each value that we get back, we're just going to add the item dot data dot title or item dot data. Okay, so we'll take a look at how this looks like in a minute. So we've got the title, we've got the description, we've got the data. What else do we have in our article? Author and published. Okay, so we're going to have a span with the article dot data dot author, and we're going to do a small with the article dot data dot published. All right, okay. So the reason why we're not using the project card component, I just want to see, we're just going to test how it looks first. And we're going to go back to our index file, and we're going to import project. So instead of this project card here, I'm going to remove that, and we're just going to say project. So if we run our code again, npm run dev, expected date, okay, and it received a string. Okay, so this maybe needs to be like so, because it's expecting a date and it's receiving a string. So remove the string from those, and let's see if we run it again, see if that makes more sense. It says, Okay. So let's make sure we know what that looks like. Let's see if we can get a date. Sometimes this happens. Okay. Where something when I say okay. Markdown date format. Let's try this one and see if that makes more of a sense. Let's try here as well and here as well. Let's see if that's what it wants. No. Okay. I don't want that. I know it doesn't want that. So what we could do for now, we're just going to change this to string because that's what it seems to be reading it as. And yeah, we'll come back to it in a moment. And there we go. So we're getting article 1, article 2, and article 3. And if we click on each of those, obviously it goes to this is the page that I asked it to do. We've got the title, we've got the description, we've got the author, we've got the date, and there we go. So we'll come back and sort out the date later. But now that that's working, we can actually change this to be project card instead of a div. And now we know that the project card takes in all of that, but we could actually just say project. So we'll just say project.data.title, project.data.description, and we'll leave the button text as it is. Okay. So we know we've got the title and description, that's fine. So we need to just pass that. So we say project equals article. And what we can say is button text equals a view article. So we don't need that anymore. So now that we have that, we can actually get rid of that. And what we have in the index file, we have this grid here. So what we'll do, we'll move that into our project instead. That way, it doesn't matter how many articles we have, it will, excellent, it will show it this way. So we have view article, excellent. Sorry, make sure that this is correct. And there we go. So we have article 1, article 2, article 3. We have the thing there. And now with the badge, we didn't actually give it a color. So we'll say variant and we'll say info. And we can actually take a look at Tailwind and see how to use it. Okay, so we've got the badge here, and this is the colors. So if we say badge variant secondary, let's take a look and just put it underneath. Let's see, we'll take a look. Alright, so we go secondary, excellent. Now we're not actually getting anything back, so yeah, there we go. So we'll just loop over and it will be the item there. And as we can see, we want to have them kind of next to each other. So we'll just have a div, class of flex, and we will put those there. And now we've got those next to each other. The author needs to be, actually we can move the author and the published into the project card. We'll put it after the inside the description, and we'll change that to project. Okay, so excellent, we got that, and we'll make this a H2 with the description. All right, so there we go. So we've got the article 1, 2, and 3. Now, if we change anything in these articles, so obviously we'll change, maybe we'll change this to 2024. We did Astro Tailwind, and maybe we do something else like Flowbyte. You know, it will update. And if we go to article 3, with Strappy, then you can add here Strappy CMS. There you go. So what we could do, obviously you want to make sure that they always look good, so you might want to change this flex to be justify between, which is a space between, and make sure everything kind of works. Or we could even just do a grid as well. So you can do grid dash calls dash 1. Let's do dash calls dash 4, 3. Yeah, excellent. With a gap of 4. There we go. We could even add some padding. Make it as big as we want, make it as small as we want. Yeah, we can make the text center. Oops, sorry. Sorry, we would probably have to do that here. Text center, item center. But yeah, you play around with the styles. Do what you want, really. But yeah, that's basically what we've got. Got a H4, H3, the padding of 2, text center, and then we'll add the item there. Okay, and we'll remove the padding on this one. And there we go. So we'll say padding 1, and we'll say something like text SM. So we get a nice small thing. So then obviously this links to an external page, and we want to add just a bit of padding around the whole thing. Yeah, okay, awesome. So there you go. So this is a dynamic component using content collections. In the next tutorial, we're going to take a look at creating images and adding images to our portfolio. Welcome back to Code with Petit Pois. In this tutorial, what we're actually going to do, because of what we have so far, we've got quite a lot. I'm going to show you how you can save your changes to GitHub. In VS Code, there's a source control extension here, and at the moment it says we've changed the project 26 times. We can see all the changes we've made, and what we're going to do, I'm going to basically save it to the cloud using save it to a GitHub repository, it's called. And basically what that does is every time we make a change, we should commit that, and then you can look at your code, so you can keep it private, or you can you can make it public so that other people can use your code too. So that's what we're going to do in this section. And what I'm going to do, I've already got it connected to my GitHub, and this is, we're going to say this is what have we done so far? So we've created a project, basic portfolio project. Okay, you can generate a commit message, or so we're going to say commit, and it's going to say commit changes to master, which is what we want. And then because this is the first time that I'm getting the commit, we're going to do publish branch, and then because I have it connected, this is my GitHub, where you can find all my GitHub. You have the option to publish to GitHub repository, so that's what we're going to do. And right now all my files are going to go into a GitHub repository called Astro Beginner Portfolio. Okay, so now we can open on GitHub, and there it is. That's everything in my that we've done so far. So the pages, which is the index page, the components, which is the navbar, the project and the project card. The content articles are all here as well. So the config file that we created in the last tutorial, so everything is there. So it's customary every time you make a change to actually commit it, so you can kind of keep track of what you do, just in case you do something and it breaks the code and you want to go back to when it was working. It's a very, very good way of keeping track of what you've been doing. So if we look at what we've got so far, this is what we've got so far. And so in the next tutorial, we will take a look at images. Okay, so welcome back to Code of Petit Pois. In this tutorial, we will add some images to our project. One of the ways we can do this is by using Unsplash. And what we're going to do, I'm just going to get some free images. Let's go travel. So let's say you have a travel blog, or you've been writing about travel. And we're going to look for city. And we make sure that the license is free. So we've got New York, So we could even actually say, let's say Paris, because I live in France. And we'll download this one. Save the image, or you could do copy image address. And what we could do, we're inside our project card Astro here, and just gonna put an image tag, and we will put the tag that we've just created there, and that's the source. And we'll say class object cover, and we will say height 32, rounded MD, and we'll save that. So let's run the project. And basically what this will do, every post that we have will actually have the same image, as you can see. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. We can say width full, and you will be able to see it like so. Okay, so another way we could do this is by actually adding the image to our content matter here. So we could say something like header, or just image, and we could paste in a URL, or we could add an image folder to our public here, and actually download some images. So let's go with Unsplash again, and we said Paris, and we said free. And we're going to save this one. I'm going to save it inside of my folder. So, sorry, it's inside of the public and the images, and I'm going to call it Eiffel Tower. And it's going to save it as an AVIF file. That's fine. And we're going to say this one. We'll save image as Paris Metro, and this one as Paris Arc Triomphe. Okay, so those are all saved inside, and if we now look inside our images folder, we see these 3 files. So in order to actually access that in our markdown file, all we need to do is add --images, and we say arc triumph.avif, and we will copy this, and we will put the same in our article 2. We'll change it to Eiffel Tower, and article 3 we'll change to Paris Metro. Okay, so now that we have all of those, we can go back to our project component, and we need to add project card component, and we need to add the image. And instead of this here, which was our default, we're going to say project.data.image, which is the name of our file. So now if we run the project, let's take a look. Okay, so we're getting something. We're not quite getting what we need, and I think it's because I need to change that to / so that it knows I'm talking about the public folder. So let's refresh, inspect. Okay, let's just make sure we're getting, it is image, yeah. Project.data.image, yeah, that's right. So, okay. Let's do the whole, okay, dash, dash, dash. Let's go public / images / oh yeah, let's do the whole let's do Eiffel Tower. Let's do the whole path for now and just make sure this is working first. Paris Metro AVIF. Oh, so okay, so we don't need to do any of that. What we need to do is we need to change the AVIF file to a JPEG. Let's do that now. Okay, welcome back to Code with Petit Pois. In this tutorial, what we're going to do, we're going to make the individual pages for these articles. First things first, we're going to update this button so that it will actually link to a new article. So let's do that first. So we know that it's in project card, and we know that we're getting the project here, and we're going to do it by title. You could do it another way. You could add another thing here called slug, and we could say article -1. Actually, let's do that. We'll do that to each of these, and then we'll add that to our, let's do that again, article -3. Okay, so we've done that to all of those, and then in our content.config file, we're going to add slug to the config. Excellent. So now that we've done all of that, what we're going to do is go to the project card, and we're going to say href, and the button, we're going to href, and this one is going to be with backticks, and we're going to say /articles, or it could be / yeah, let's do articles because that's what it is. Do it /articles / and we're gonna do a $, project.data.slug. Okay, or I think it could be just project.slug. Alright, so now what we want to do is we want to make a folder in Pages called articles, which I have here, and we're going to right click, and we're going to call this one /slug /astro. Okay, now in the documentation and the content collections, we've got this building for static output, and this is by default, and we're going to copy what's written here, and we're going to walk through how this works. Okay, so it's importing the get collection, and it's importing render from Astro content, and we're exposing, we're getting the path for every collection. So every one of these, basically, we're getting the path to those. And we're going to say const.post articles instead of posts. And we say article. And we're just going to change all of that to article. And we're going to change all that to articles, because that's what our that's what we're calling our collection. So what we're doing, we're importing what we need, we're exporting the paths, we're getting a path to each file, and the params is actually not an ID, it's a slug. So that's that. We're going to say article.data.slug. Oh, is that right? Slug, yeah, okay. Which basically means back in our thing here, we need to put data here, data.slug in our project card button. Okay, so for our template, we're gonna get the entry directly from the prop, which is the article, and we could actually, we're basically deconstructing that. And then the constant is how it's going to read all the content. And we're going to say h1, we can basically say, do we do layouts? We haven't done, yes, we have done layouts. So add a layout, and it's going to import that. And we're going to just wrap everything inside there. And we're going to do a div with the class of mx-auto. And we're going to paste all of that in here. And basically what we're going to do is say class font -bold text /7XL for the title, and then all we need to do is just add the content. So by doing that, let's take a look, make sure we have it running. So open up your terminal and we say npm run dev, make sure it's running on localhost 4321, and let's take a look. So refresh just to make sure. Okay, so if we hover over, we've got the path that it's going to, localhost 2, 3, article 3, etc. And we click on it, here we are. So we have the article, and we have everything that was written inside the article. So all of this. Now, obviously, we could make this even more interesting by, you could say, text item center. And I believe that will, no, text center. Or maybe that's on, yeah, there we go. So we can center everything there. And we can even add in the, we can add in the image. Like before, we can say article.data dot, and we can add the image. We can add a h3 with the article.data dot, and then we can say when it was published. And if we do this, oops, sorry, we have the publish date, and we don't have the article.data.image, that should be right. Oh, we need to make sure that that includes the whole path, because I believe it's only the, yeah, okay. So we make sure that we got this wrapped here, and kind of similar to how we made the project card, actually very similar here. So we could actually copy this and we could paste it here. So instead of project, it will be article, article.data.author, etc. We don't need the description, we just need the content. There we go. So if we take a look now, okay, so we're doing the whole thing. All right. We don't need object cover because we actually want to see the whole thing, so we can remove the class from the image. So let's just remove that class. Make sure we're in the right file. Remove that class completely and we'll see what we get. So there we go, we've got the Arc de Triomphe and we've got the information here. And what we could do is we could actually make this into a grid. -1 and then MD grid -cols -2. And what we do, we'll do one div with the image and we'll do another div with the information. So now we have it on one side and we can basically have a class of padding 8 and let's see what that looks like. Not much is going on here. Oh, we want to make sure that this is gap 4. Okay, here we go, that's a bit better. Now we don't want this text to be centered, so we will remove that from there and put it here so that the article is name, etc, etc. Now there's one more thing we need to add. We want to actually go back to the articles because right now we're just stuck on this page. So let's do that. That's fine. We'll do the same class here. We'll copy that. Okay, so excellent. So we could basically say span. This actually should be next to the title. And we should say like written by and then the author. Okay, we also want that. Maybe we could wrap this in a div as well. And we give it class of text center. Oops. And we don't need it here. So yeah, written by, and then we can say the small here. Add that there inside the div, and we say on, and then we've got all of that. And we have the image and we have the content. Excellent. So we could make it so that the gap is smaller. And we could also make the image of a class. And we'll say object contain. And we say width. Let's say 16. See, it's absolutely tiny. 32. A bit bigger. If we say width full. There we go. That's what we want. But we want the height to be maybe 32. Okay. So in this case, we do want object cover. The height to be, let's say 72, and we want it to be maybe center, BG center. Or is it BG top actually? So that the positioning, we can see the top. Anyway, well, you obviously mess around with it and do what you want. Add some more classes. I'm going to do rounded. I'm going to do a shadow -MD just to make it stand out a little bit. And with the information, we've got content. So that's what we've got here. All right. So you've obviously can, however many articles you have. At the moment, we can go to the home and we've got the articles here, but what we want to do is we want to add in this, maybe before we do the header, we want a button, and the href, we want it to basically go back to the home page. We say back to projects. and we want to make sure we import any components that we need. So we need the button from Tailwind, sorry. So that's there. And if we save, we view an article, we say back to projects, but we want it to be maybe here, so we can move that button, put it inside the text center, maybe above the title, or we could actually put it below. Let's put it after the small. Actually, let's just wrap the small in H3. And we put the, we put the button here, and then we wrap from the span, we'll put a H3. And we will wrap that here. And this should make it look a bit better. And okay, back to projects. So if we view this one, we've got article 1, article 2, and if for some reason we actually change it, so we're going to say this is, the title is Arc de Triomphe. And we go here, back to projects, we go to, it changes here, Arc de Triomphe. And we can say, this is Arc de Triomphe. And it gets updated here. So we know it will always correspond to whatever you've got written here. We're going to change this to Eiffel Tower. And we can change the slug as well to Eiffel dash tower. And articles 3 is the metro. So Paris metro, and we can say the slug is Paris dash metro. And obviously you can add more information and it will all show up here. So for example, if we went to Ipsum generator and we said 5 paragraphs, we copied all of this and we go to, I don't know, let's do the one about the one we're in now, all about the Paris metro, and we paste that and we take a look in our portfolio and we do Paris metro, review it, it's all there. So there you go. So we've got a nice portfolio of projects. We could even add another button that shows, that gives us the, oops, let's go with those. And we go here and we could say we want another button, maybe after the content, or let's just put another button. That will be a href, and that will be article.data.url, and that will be like read more or more info, and that could be a link to the live project, or there we go, it's actually underneath, but we could put it, if we put it inside this div, it will be after the content. So for example here, be at the bottom, and oops, sorry, Arc de Triomphe will be here, more info. And obviously you can change this. You could say you want the color to be, I think it's danger, or is it warning? You want it to be red. Yeah, can't remember the variants. Maybe info. Oh yeah, info, warning. You can change those. But yeah, that's a nice way of adding more content to your project. So if you have some links or some more information. Oh, and we wanted to do, we've done the tags here, but we also want maybe the tags in the file, in the slug as well. So what we'll do, we go back to our project card. Actually no, project Astro, here it is. So we want to do the same thing we have here. We want to copy that and put it inside of our slug. So maybe I'll put it here. And we want to import the badge. And let's take a look and see what that looks like. So we've got all the tags as well. So what we want to do here, maybe we want to say H1 or H2 tags. And we want to wrap this in a div. Actually, we'll put that, yeah, H2 tags. And we give this a class of text center font dash bold. And let's see what that looks like. Okay, so we've got the nice long tags here. And what we could do, instead of a grid, we'll just say flex dash 1. Yeah, we go. That's what we want. We don't want text center actually. We just want it to be bold, or it could even be padding of 4, text 3XL, and italic. Italic. Yeah, there you go. So you got the tags here. Maybe we do want all of that inside of the project button here. So everything is MX Auto, item center. Let's see what that looks like. My text center. Doesn't want to do it. Oh, flex dash grow. No, that's the thing we want to do. Okay, well, we could figure out, maybe we don't want it in the center. We can take it out of the center, put it outside, and put it inside there. Oh, actually, I think it should be at the bottom. So let's move all of that just before the last div. We can put it there. And there we go. We can wrap all of that in a section with a class of padding 4. And that will be our tag section. That makes more sense, I think. It looks a bit better. And eventually you can even make these into URL links or whatever, but that is all we're going to do in this project. So I actually received a file, a Figma file from a subscriber, and what we're going to do, we're going to break that down and actually make a whole portfolio page using the techniques we've created in this project. Okay, so let's do that. Oh, before we go, because we've made these changes, again I will click on the source control and I will say added dynamic articles, and I will say commit and sync, because we've made a change and it's good to make sure every time you make a change and it's working to push that code to GitHub. So now everything is there, and as you can see here, these are the different times we can roll back if we need to. All right, so we'll be creating a full project next time, and that's what we'll do. Welcome to Code with Paper. In this tutorial, we're going to be looking at something that AppWrite just announced. It's AppWrite Sites. It's the alternative to Reusable, and at the moment it's free up until the 1st of August to to host your website. We're just going to walk through a step-by-step tutorial of using a GitHub repository that I have, a public one that I've used for making a portfolio website. And we're going to walk through the process of actually getting it hosted by Upright. So obviously the first thing to do is sign up to Upright, and I have that. I'm going to go to my console. I've got quite a few projects here. I'm actually going to just create a new project. I'm going to call it Portfolio. The closest region to me is Frankfurt, and now I'm going to go to Sites, Early Access, and Create Site, and I'm going to connect a repository. I'm going to connect to GitHub, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I've connected my GitHub repository, and I'm going to use the Astro Beginner Portfolio repository. I'm going to click Connect, and everything is correct. And I have no environment variables. I have everything else is fine. Notice that my site is Astro, which is correct. It's done that automatically for me, and it's going to obviously run the relevant commands. I'm going to leave it as Astro Beginner Portfolio because, but you could obviously change that here. And I want to click Deploy. Alright, so it's going to build. Now this is a fresh install. If you want to know how we made this website, you can watch my Astro Beginner web series, Beginner Bites web series. And we'll just watch this build. Build is finished. And just like that, we have a functioning website. And once it's all done, we can we can see our website is live. So we'll wait for all of that to finish. And in the meantime, one of the good reasons to actually do this with Upright is if in the future you decide to add a backend, maybe you have some kind of CMS where you want to add all your portfolio projects. You can use Upright Storage. You could add a section where people have to log in to access a different part of the site. It's all ready for you. So if we visit, there it is. This is the site we made with our YouTube tutorial. We made this using Markdown, Tailwind, and this was from a Figma file that was sent by a subscriber. So just like that, we were able to deploy a website, and it's actually fully functional. And that's with Upright Sites. So it's free. It took 1 minute and 2 seconds to build. And there you go. So please like and subscribe if you want more videos like this, or if you want to know how to connect a database to this, etc. Just let me know. All right. Thank you.